Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The one race this year north of the border. All the racers here for the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire, ready to tackle one of the toughest racetracks on the circuit, the streets of Toronto and the Ontario Honda dealers, Honda Indy. This is a legendary race, an iconic event as part of IndyCar, big one for us as well. Everybody loves coming up to Toronto. It's been a great day so far. Starting, of course, off with practice today. A couple of red flags, but nothing crazy. A lot of good green flag running for the drivers to get a feel for this bumpy racetrack here in Toronto. What we've got coming up here this afternoon, though, is qualifying, because a key thing for this weekend here, separate qualifying sessions for both races of the doubleheader. Of course, both USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000, two qualifying runs. One will be this afternoon, one will be tomorrow morning. That will be for race 2, which takes place on Sunday morning. So again, the drivers have one good feel for this racetrack. They came back here into the Intercare Center paddock, had a chance to go over the data, the debrief with their team, and of course their teammates as well. Crucial to try to make changes for qualifying when they'll finally get a chance to put sticker Continentals on their machines. Again, qualifying set to go. It's going to be a short one, just 20-minute qualifying session, so the drivers have to get it done. It's going to be a fantastic day. We'll see what happens when we get back after this break, folks. I'll be back, and we'll see these drivers hit the racetrack for the first time.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
The drivers in the USF 2000 category are brought to you by Continental Tires, ready to head out onto the track for a crucial 20-minute qualifying sessions. Hello, race fans. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of this USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire. I'll be joined throughout the broadcast and throughout the weekend by the voice of this Honda Indy Toronto, Mr. Todd Lewis. And indeed, drivers getting set to go to roll out in this category. The Continental Tire Grand Prix of Toronto, one lone practice session earlier today to get a feel for the racetrack, right into qualifying for race number 1. A doubleheader weekend here for the middle rung of the USF Pro Championships ladder program. But they'll have two separate qualifying sessions. Normally we have one qualifying session and your two fastest laps are brought into play, but two completely separate qualifying sessions here on the streets of Toronto. And again, 20 drivers set to roll out. Point leader Max Garcia was the fastest earlier today at a 1:14.030, just about a tenth quicker than Evagoras Papasavas from J. Howard Driver Development. Garcia's teammates Sam Corey and Hudson Schwartz, third and fourth in that morning session. And the lone driver for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development in the red, white, and blue Stars and Stripes machine, that's Elliot Cox in the number 67. He rounded out the top 5. Again, Todd, so the bottom line is here. It's time to go qualifying. I had a chance to talk to a number of the drivers, as I had said, talking about street circuits and talking about what the track was like. And they said that the repave through 9, 10, and 11 has helped out quite a bit. It's a lot less bumpy than it's been before. And again, the big thing that when you come to a track like this where we don't get to test on it and it's new every year is that we moved to Continental tires this year after many years with Cooper. These Continentals a little softer, and everybody I talked to said the grip level is actually pretty surprising. They're loving getting around here with some more grip.
Who doesn't love softer tires with more grip and fresh asphalt to boot for these USF 2000 drivers? That would be great. You mentioned too, it's just a 20-minute qualifying session, which is a little different than you usually get. It's usually the 20 minutes guaranteed. It's 20 minutes and you get what you get today.
Yeah, normally we have a 20-minute session within a 30-minute window, so a max of 20 green minutes. So if we go green to checker, it's only a 20-minute session. Now just a 20-minute session, that's all it is. So we're kind of bookended a little bit there. one incident and you're in trouble. If we have 2 incidents on track, it's going to be really tough. So this is not going to be one of those deals where you can kind of wait around at the start, kind of let the tires come up to temperature. You got to get banker laps in. You really have to you got to get green laps every time you hit, because one yellow flag that brings like a red flag that brings everybody back to pit lane, and you could be in trouble.
We had both the USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 have a red flag situation late in their session this morning during the practice. The USF 2000 practice session was abbreviated just by a couple of minutes. I think everybody still got a pretty good feel for the unique changes and adjustments that have occurred over the last 12 months since the series was last in Toronto. The asphalt's a little different, the concrete's a little more worn, the concrete blocks, the placement is slightly askew, but I think everybody got a good feel for the place.
Indeed, and we saw them come up to speed slowly and very patient and very methodical. And every driver I talked to, the same thing, it was slowly build up the speed. You're not going to come out and lay fast laps down for the first 5. They got 18 laps in, so again, those last 5 are the crucial ones. Just get out there, be smart, be patient and wait. And we saw a lot of that. We had essentially 26, 27 minutes of green flag running before Nicholas Giaffoni got into the wall in turn number 1 to shut that session down just a little bit early. But again, all 20 of these drivers are going to get set to roll out here for qualifying. It will be crucial, as I said. This will set the grid for race number 1. And Todd, as we always do, let's say hello to everybody who's around the country and around the world watching the events here this weekend on the USF Pro Championships YouTube page, or potentially you've downloaded the series app to watch wherever you are mobily. Engines firing, I like that. Leaving pit lane here right now, so we can hear that happening. You'll see them roll out here onto the front straightaway momentarily. And again, we talk about the people watching from all around the world. It's because we have such an international field here. We've got, of course, Quinn Armstrong coming in from Australia, Liam McNeely from England. We've got Nicholas Giaffoni from Brazil, Lucas Facuri from Brazil, and another driver from Australia here this weekend, the point leader in the Australian Formula 4 Championship. Thrilled to have Eddie Beswick here. He looked very good in the morning session here, got up to speed quickly, or slowly rather, took his time in the number 92 exclusive Autosport machine, 9th for Beswick in his debut here in his first session. But here they come down, Todd, into turn number 3. You can see the sticker tires on in the morning session today. They were using scuffed tires, carryovers from a previous weekend, so you don't have to burn up a fresh set of tires. All slick Continentals now. You got to put the fresh tires on. And again, we always laugh that somehow these guys all end up going out in a big, huge pack instead of waiting in pit lane. But underway through 5, over now to 6, 7, and 8, and away we go. The opening minute of the session underway.
Looks like they are starting to string out just a little bit on the back part of the circuit, looking back towards corner number 8 now, and getting through that apex. There's a little bit of bump on the exit, as you see, for the left rear of some of those cars coming through. And if everybody gets a little bit of space, gives himself a little bit of room, they'll be able to start putting in those quick laps.
One of the bonuses of being the point leader for Max Garcia is the fact that his team, Paps Racing, at the very front of the pit lane. That's how we set our pit lane up, based on points. So he's got open track. The minute he leaves there, he's going to have open track until somebody else comes in. So you'll see them kind of start to gap up a little bit here right now. Some may have stayed on pit lane as well. But again, as I said, there is a bit of urgency in this particular session because there's only 20 minutes. And as I said, all it takes, you get out there, get a couple warm-up laps, and someone gets in the wall. And it's a red flag. And then we don't have that 30-minute window to get the 20 minutes in. It's just a straight 20-minute session. So indeed, you cannot make mistakes. You've got to be smart and get some laps and get some banker laps in. So you and I are going to be following live timing very closely because it's going to be crucial.
I take back what I said about getting strung out, because there's 5 drivers that could reach out and touch one another coming through 4 and 5 now.
And listen, at a track like VIR or Road America, the draft plays a big role. And maybe to a certain extent it does down the back straightaway. But this track's twisty, and it's got a lot of tight stuff. It's not all about drafting. Like, you see some drivers trying to make moves to the inside at turn 8. Why? It's not going to happen. You've got to get the pass done in the back straightaway here. One driver almost into the wall coming out. You can see the squirrely there coming through. Again, turn 8, Todd, they're trying to carry so much speed through that corner, right, going deep on it, and really use all the racetrack. You see a lot of the times they'll lock a tire up. A couple of them, as we said, having some trouble with like some mid-corner understeer.
Just starting to get the first lap times. The timing line, we should remind folks as well, is back from the entrance of pit lanes just prior to corner number 8. It's not at the actual start-finish line. That will change for the race, of course, but just during the qualifying sessions, They moved to an alternate timing line just ahead of corner number 8 here in Toronto. How many laps to get up to tire temperature? 2, 3, maybe?
I'm going to say at least 3. Yeah, I think that your third lap, midway through your third lap, you're probably going to start getting that grip you're looking for. And remember, one of the things about this is why the cars really aren't as good at the opening part of a session. The tire pressures are set, so they'll essentially come up and be good midway through. They're not set to come out of the gate strong right now. You could do that. You could be the fastest driver in the opening 2 laps by cranking your tire pressure up. That's going to bring heat into the tires a lot quicker. Instead, they have a specific tire pressure you set to go out, knowing that as the pressure of the temperature builds, that pressure is going to come up. You don't want it early. You want it maybe midway through, 10 minutes in, so that the tire pressure, the sweet spot of the tire, and the burning off of the fuel, which results in a lighter car, all kind of comes together at the same time.
Just 4 minutes in now to this qualifying session for the USF 2000 series. It's 1:14.7, the quick time now, but I expect that's going to start to drop pretty quickly.
I love watching the entire racetrack, but I could probably watch a camera of them coming through just turn number 11, because you saw how squirrely they were. Some drivers are coming in with a bunch of understeer, others a bit of oversteer. You know, you can set the car up. Some people like a car with some understeer. It's a little bit easier to drive sometimes. Others like that loose car that they can throw around a bit. This is a wild place to watch here. You just see how they come out. They're starting to get closer to the wall. Cool, big run there for Quinn Armstrong as well. His mother's come over from Australia. Dad, Tony's back home. So, hi, Tony Armstrong, how are you? Back home. So, hi, Tony Armstrong, how are you? Quinn's rolling here. Let's get things going. Where is he right now? How about P4 for Quinn Armstrong, the Aussie for D-Force Racing, up into 4th. So it's been kind of an up and down year for Quinn. He at the start of the season had a really good start, was top 10, a bunch of top 10 finishes, but has had some rough ones over the last little bit. He'll keep digging. That's all these drivers do. No quitting any of them. They just keep fighting hard. Quinn currently 11th place in points, but definitely able to work his way probably up into the top 6 or 7 if he has a couple of good runs here to finish off the season. Todd, 5 more races for these drivers here, because they'll do a triple header at Portland. 2 races here, triple header at Portland, and we're coming to the championship. Well, watch these drivers. You can just see them hustling out of turn number 11, and kind of at the last minute, they're kind of getting that little wheel in to keep out of the wall.
This being towards the end of the season, too, for these drivers, with just 2 events, as you mentioned here, Toronto, and then 3 in Portland, they're thinking, too, is like, okay, I want to finish strong. I want to have a good end to my season. I want to take a step forward. So they're going to be focused on the results that they're getting at the end of the day. Good qualifying effort goes a long way to helping achieve that.
The interesting thing is I talked to the top 3 drivers in the points in USF Pro 2000, and all 3 of them said, I just want to win races. I'm here to win races. I need to win all 4 races, because there's 4 left to go in USF Pro, 2 here and 2 in Toronto. And that's the line, right? I'm out here to win races. I'm just going to try to win races. And that's a lot of drivers will tell you that. If you win races, everything takes care of itself to a certain extent.
Sure, but there's only one winner.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Point leader Max Garcia for Pabst Racing up top right now, 113.7, and I believe that's already quicker by 0.3 from what they did earlier today. And remember, anytime you're coming to a street circuit, any real track, but a street circuit plays this big time, is the track constantly changing, constantly evolving over the weekend. The more time we get more cars out there, the track gets cleaner. We know how dirty it was for the first session. Rubber starts going down, track starts getting cleaned up, and that's why we go quicker and quicker. And right now, it's about a 1/10 of a second right now for Garcia over Papasavas. Sam Corey in 3rd, Michael Costello 4th, Elliott Cox 5th. Liam McNeely, 2nd place right now, and USF Juniors coming off a big win at Mid-Ohio. He's making his USF 2000 debut here this weekend. He's up to 6th. Giafoni, who was in the wall at the end of the first session, now 7th. Evan Cooley 8th. Joey Brands 9th. And Quinn Armstrong rocking the top 10 here. Eddie Beswick, the Aussie, making his debut in the number 92, currently 14th. But he's had a really tidy opening session of the day here. Very smart, stayed out of trouble, got faster. I expect to see more of that here again, Todd, in qualifying.
When do we become concerned that Max Taylor in that 3 car is only 12th quickest? We're not quite halfway through this 20 minutes as yet, but he's someone who expected to be a little bit quicker here.
Indeed, I figured he would be a lot farther up, but I saw here he's stuck behind one of the Jay Howard driver development cars. I think he's right behind G3 Argyros, who's currently 6th. So watch for Taylor to keep coming on here. He's all the way back at 13th right now, as you said. He'll need to gap himself pretty soon if he's going to find his way up anywhere into the top 5. He's pushing. Whoa, a couple drivers super close to the wall coming out there. That was the 22 Hudson Schwartz. Big time on the power coming through there.
I think that was a good example of there's practice close to the wall and there's qualifying close to the wall. They're trying to extract every ounce of racetrack and get as much speed as they can.
Well, that was a question I asked to Matt Clark. We talked about running on a street circuit. He says it's that gradual, finding pace throughout the weekend. I said, well, that's all well and good when you have one practice section. But if you're still finding pace in qualifying, how do you balance aggression with patience? You know the car's going to get better. You know you're going to get better. But listen, you got to get it done in qualifying, whatever happens. So he kind of just alluded to the fact, well, last couple of laps, you're hanging out there. I appreciate the candor, for sure.
That's a race car driver.
That's it.
So still Max Garcia, a 1:13.4051 now, the quick time. So just posted another personal best. So as you said, we're starting to see them improve.
Yeah, and that's Argyros and Taylor. You and I already talked about Max Taylor being stuck behind G3 Argyros. He's currently in 11th spot. Taylor's in 12th. This is not working for Max Taylor right now, coming off a win. He's the most recent winner. He was fantastic. Won 2 of the 3 races at Mid-Ohio. Took the points lead in from USF Juniors with a victory on Friday there as well. So he's the point leader in USF Juniors, Max Taylor, and he's second place right now in USF 2000. Just a much more mature Max than last year. He was overly aggressive. A lot of high-risk, low-percentage moves, the overtakes he was trying. He's calmed down this year. He's the one that stayed out of trouble, and it's 100% paid off for him. But this isn't working right now. Although he did turn his fastest lap there on the last lap to go P13, and he finally makes the move inside Argyros. 10.5 minutes to go. You're going to see Taylor, I would say he likely goes top 10, then top 5 in the next couple of laps. He's going to open up the gap. It's going to help Argyros, actually. He's going to be able to follow him around as well.
Now that will follow those 3 cars that are making their way through the back part of the circuit now and can begin that long run down towards corner number 8, see if he can start to gap himself a little bit.
And that's Hudson Schwartz right behind him as well. Schwartz currently in the 9th spot. There's Taylor into the top 10. He went P8 with a move to the inside of turn 3. So even with the overtake to the bottom of the racetrack, he ends up going P8. It'll be a top 5 run this next lap here, I guarantee it, for Max Taylor. Look at how many green laps we have there now that we're into the second half of this. Max Corey goes up into second. McNeely, Thomas Schrag, and Joey Brienza go 5, 6, 7 respectively. All green laps on that last time by. Max Taylor went quicker, as did Chase Bacon, back in the 17th position.
Everyone doing a good job so far as we're past the midway point of this qualifying session for the USF 2000 series. It will set the grid for race number 1 that will take place tomorrow. They will have an on-track session tomorrow to qualify for race number 2 and then come back and race number 1 tomorrow afternoon. Again, a little bit of a switch up to their usual format, but good for everyone to have a clean session 11 minutes through.
Exactly. There's times when we only get 1 or only 4 sessions total, including 2 races. So we'll have a practice and then a qualifying that will set the grid for 2 races, right? So indeed, to have these 2 different qualifying sessions, it'll be like another chance for the drivers even to find some more pace before the race tomorrow afternoon, because they can sit down and debrief, make changes, and then qualify again tomorrow morning. Cars are going to be really good for the first of 2 races. 12:40, like right after the noon hour on Saturday. Great time slot for USF 2000. Again, as we always say, the future stars of IndyCar here in the USF Pro Championships program. And again, these drivers, as we know, Todd, racing for a lot of money. The scholarship up for grabs, over $458,000. And again, they're racing for cash here right now. $1,000 from Continental for pole position as well. Nice little cash in your pocket. You can go P1. And for a guy like Max Garcia, everybody's chasing him in the championship. If he grabs that pole, he steals a point. It's really worth 2 because it doesn't go to one of your competitors and you steal it away. So Garcia looking to stretch the gap even more here if he goes on pole.
Goes a little bit quicker at a 1:13.3 with the new fast lap ahead of Sam Corey, Evagores Papasavas, Elliot Cox, Liam McNeely, the top 5 right now as we have just under 8 minutes remaining in this session.
Outside the top 5, Thomas Schrag coming off a podium finish in race number 3 at Mid-Ohio. He's with VRD Racing in the number 2. Evan Cooley for Exclusive Autosport 7th. His teammate Joey Brienza 8th. Michael Costello 9th, and Max Taylor rounding out the top 10. Schwartz back to 11th. Watch for Taylor to find some more speed now that he's open. I figured he would have went top 5 there. He did not. So still in the top 10 though, but he hasn't found the extra speed he needs. He's almost a full second back, 9/10 of a second off of Garcia. That's the championship fight right now. That's what I like seeing here. Sam Corey's in the battle as well. To be honest, he's only 65 points back, but Corey is going to need some wins. He's going to need a couple of victories here. He's almost a full weekend back of Garcia in 3rd. Papasava still in the championship fight as well, but he's way back. He's like 70-something points as well. So everybody needs to win. If you're Max Garcia, you don't need to win. Everybody else needs to win.
I asked Max about how you were up there. Good demonstration of the runoff area there in corner number 8. The driver just popped back out. But I asked Max Garcia about being out front of the championship yesterday. It's just, you don't really think about the championship, but you don't think about it. If you just kind of take care of yourself, come away with consistent finishes, then that will look after itself for these final 2 rounds.
And that's what he did at Mid-Ohio, right? He wasn't the dominant driver. He didn't win any races, but he put in a couple of good results, even though guys had their elbows up like I would have expected at Mid-Ohio. He turned in a solid, consistent weekend and got the points he needed. Indeed, two fourth place finishes at starting 7th and 3rd. So all in all, although they weren't wins, they weren't podiums, they were solid top 5s. There's Elliot Cox in 5th, and around him 2 drivers who just went quicker. Evan Cooley for Exclusive Autosport, now up into 4th. Driver from the USF Juniors program, he's P4. Max Taylor finds that pace. He goes to within 7 tenths of a second of the leader, up to 6th for Max Taylor. Quinn Armstrong went faster as well. He's 12th. Maxwell Jameson 16th. The driver who did take the escape route there, Todd, in turn number 8, was Hudson Schwartz, the Pabst Racing driver in the number 22. He is in the pit lane right now, as is G3 Argyros. Just under 6 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And we're going to go back-to-back as well. We finish up here in USF 2000, right in to USF Pro 2000 for their qualifying session. The drivers will wrap things up, and 3:15 this afternoon we have the autograph session in the Heritage area, the Heritage court. So looking forward to that. All 37 drivers will be there, so it's going to be exciting.
Great, nice to see all the drivers out. It's a great opportunity for fans here in Toronto, the Ontario Honda dealers, Indy Toronto, to get out and see, as you say, some of the future stars of Indy cars. They're on their way up, and it's an opportunity to see these drivers, and honestly to see how young some of these drivers are, but also the maturity and poise that they display, both personally and while they're in the race cars.
Yeah, I've said that you look at them, they seem so young, and then they start talking about racing and talking about what they do and the passions they have, and you realize there's a level of maturity that's I know I did not have when I was 15 or 16 years of age. You raised your hand. I appreciate the honesty, Tom.
Absolutely.
We weren't put behind the wheel of 140 mile an hour race cars when we were 15 or 16. I think I was given this family car. I promptly rolled it. So yeah, my career, nothing close to what these kids have done. Garcia still on top, 1:13.3. Lap 10, I believe, was his best lap. Sam Corey in 2nd spot. Evagoras Papasavas in 3rd. Cooley 4th. Liam McNeely, not surprised at all by how good he's been. He's one of the top drivers in USF Juniors. Multiple wins this year for the British driver for Jay Howard Driver Development. Now P5 for McNeely. Taylor, Cox, Schrag, Brienza, and Costello now the top 10. Eddie Best went back there in 13th. Wouldn't be surprised to see him lay down a lap before it's all said and done. 4 minutes left to go. Maybe 4 laps. That's a possibility to get through in time. 3 or 4 laps, I would say, remaining in the session. This 20-minute run. Again, cars are getting lighter, burning off the fuel. Tire temps are there, right? You got the tires where they need to be. Now the pressures are where they need to be. You can see the drivers who have done a good job gapping themselves out here. That's one of the, you can do what you can, the engineers and the crew to the car, right? Tire pressure, everything's done. We've set the car up. The driver, number 1, has to get themselves into a spot near the end of the session when the car's as light as it possibly can get. They need to get open track where they're not getting caught up by somebody else. Then they got to put the lap down. Then they got to put in 11 awesome corners to be able to go P1.
Just watched the 2-car of Thomas Schrags there with a 4-wheel drift coming through corner number 8. That is not ideal.
He's okay, but he's an F1600 driver. He can throw that car around.
Yeah, 3 minutes left in this qualifying session. But you're right. Everyone's spaced out now. You've got the opportunity. You've got a gap. No one's really nose to tail. Everything is where it should be on the car. Now it's in the driver's hands. Now you're up to show that maturity.
And Todd, look at this. There you go. Not surprised. Right? Sam Corey, Evagoras Papasavas, Max Taylor, all fastest on that lap right there. The last lap they went on the racetrack. So these guys are all starting to get it. They're pushing. They're doing what they can. Corey within 600ths of a second of his teammate. Papasavas, Taylor, and Evan Cooley, the top 5. Corey needs this pole. He's an outside shot at winning the championship. He needs the pole right now. He needs that 1 point. He can't let Garcia take it away from him. Corey, I think he may be right there stuck behind another car, though. He'll be coming down the back straightaway already, I believe. Corey, he'll have to use this draft. I think he's behind one of the D-Force cars. That may be Corey right there. That's going to be tough for him to get a fast lap. He'll dive to the inside at turn number 3, looking to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll go to the inside, but he's got to give up so much speed getting by that car, the number 12 of Maxwell Jameson. So, again, like I said, this lap and maybe another one, right? So he comes back around.
So he will get to
maybe
the timing.
3 more.
He will get to the timing line in front of corner number 8. He's cleared that traffic ahead of him. So here's his opportunity now with clear track. Put in the quick lap, try and snag that pole away from Max Garcia.
So he's going to get to the timing line with 1:42 to go. So he's going to get back around. So he's going to get 2 more flying laps. For all these drivers coming through here, they'll get 1 more and another after that. Big lockup further back for one of the Jay Howard cars. Might have been Costello. Pushing hard at the end of this one. Garcia, Corey, Papasavas, Taylor, and McNeely. Cooley 6th, Cox 7th, Brienza 8th, Schrag 9th, and Beswick. Eddie Beswick up to 10. I said the patience is there. He's up to the top 10 right now for Beswick. Nicely done. Gap right now a little more. Remember I said it was about 600ths of a second? No, now it's over a 10th because Garcia went quicker again on lap 13, 1:13.241. Corey, though, able to get by Maxwell Jameson, and now Sam Corey up on the wheel. That's Cox. Elliot Cox off the racetrack. That, I believe, turn number 1. Yeah, so he's not quite into the zone. He can keep going straight there. I don't know why he stopped there as opposed to going through the runoff. In turn 1, there's a runoff area that goes all the way around the outside, and we're going to go red flag. And listen, this is going to end this session, right? So the session's done. Max Garcia on the pole. Elliot Cox, who is 7th, is going to lose his fast lap of the race because he just brought the red flag out. And the issue there is, unlike other runoffs where you just go straight off and have to turn around, here in turn number 1, there's actually an exit road that goes all the way through turn 1 and around the corner, around the outside, and blends back in coming out of turn number 2. And it's one of the things, they don't go and look at that when they're doing the track walk. I would 100% do the full loop, go through 1, but you need to make sure you know what it's like when you get through there. Elliott, for some reason, coming to a stop. Looks like front wing damage, maybe, Todd? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It looks.
No, it does look okay.
Looked like he may have stalled the car and just couldn't get going quick enough instead of continuing on, like getting off of the speed a little bit and then just carrying
going around.
Through, right?
Yeah. Again, made a mistake there, I believe. Max Garcia says thank you so much because Sam Corey had a couple of laps to get the job done. I don't know if he was up at all coming through, but Garcia and Corey, it'll be a Pabst Racing front row for the opening race of the doubleheader for the USF 2000 pilots. Garcia 113.241. Add the bonus point already on to the championship lead. He leads right now by 42 points over Max Taylor. Call it 43. And even Richard Petty for you. 43 points for Garcia over Sam Corey. Evagoras Papasavas in the fight, long-range fight, but he can still fight for the win there. P3 for Evagoras. For Jay Howard Driver Development. Max Taylor, what did I say? He's going to end up top 5. He made me look good. Taylor ends up in P4 for VRD Racing. Liam McNeely in his debut qualifying effort for Jay Howard Driver Development. The British pilot goes P5. He'll start alongside Evan Cooley, another one of our USF juniors. So Cooley and McNeely, 2 full-time juniors drivers who we know we're going to see in USF 2000 next year. McNeely for Jay Howard, Cooley for Exclusive Autosport. Elliot Cox still in 7th. Now, I wonder whether or not they may have already got rid of the lap for him. They do that often in timing, so that could be where he is. The 1:13.8 could have been his second best lap, having lost his fastest lap because he brought out the red flag. Joey Brienza in 8th spot, Thomas Schrag in 9th, and Eddie Beswick in his debut as well, the Aussie Formula Ford driver, a 1:14.129. Great job for Beswick into the top 10. So there you have it, USF 2000 wrapped up. Excellent job up top. Max Garcia and Sam Corey go 1 and 2. Papasavas, Taylor, and McNeely your top 5. And once again, folks, that wraps things up for USF 2000. Don't go anywhere. We're back to back. The drivers on the false grid right now getting set to go. USF Pro 2000 will be up next and it'll be all live. Those of you watching here on the USF Pro Championships YouTube channel, we'll be right back.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah. Road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Were
Absolutely.
they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next, all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams a reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
It's a fresh start. It's a career's on the line. It's a great chapter. I think everybody's goal is to win my life.
All this year is tying it together, making a good championship season out of it.
It's the reason to keep me alive and the reason to keep me pushing.
I mean, a lot since I can keep going up the ladder. All those champions that wanted to become part of that list.
The drivers are racing aggressive with me, I'll race aggressive with them.
The scholarship is incredibly important. It's obviously the goal for every driver.
I'm going to rewrite what happened last year in terms of that rivalry with him getting the best of me.
When you win a race, it's the best feeling ever.
Field is stacked.
Hopefully this year we can have good luck.
Having the scholarship money to move up next year is really all I'm aiming for.
Well, the drivers in USF 2000 showed us how to get it done in qualifying. That short 20-minute session cut just a little bit shorter, actually, after the incident at the very end of that run there for Elliot Cox, who went off in turn number 1. Now it's time for USF Pro 2000. The drivers just one step up on the ladder. Many of these drivers having run and kind of worked on their career, their racecraft in USF 2000. Of course, the immediate graduation up to the next level. Field now peeling off of pit lane to get things underway. Another 20-minute session here in the championship, just like we saw in USF 2000, equally as tight in the Pro 2000 category, with the Australian driver Lockie Hughes as the point leader. Actually, even a little bit tighter. Is it the gap right now? Just 26 points back to Nikita Johnson, who scored a couple of wins at Mid-Ohio, and that was big for him to get right back into the fight. Jace Denmark is rolling on a 3-race podium streak as well. Denmark needs a victory here to get himself back into the fight. He's been in a championship scrap before. That was 2022 between E. Miles Rowe and Michael D. Orlando. Did not come out of the top end of that battle, but learned a ton. And Todd Lewis joining me here, the voice of the Honda Indy Toronto. Same thing, I talked to Jace about that. He said, the stuff I learned, although we didn't win the championship, it just helped develop me as a driver, and I'm thrilled to be back in another championship scrap once again. And
great to see Jace Denmark now, the USF Pro 2000, competing for a championship. Will he be successful? How did you take all that knowledge and channel it into what you need to do out on the track? We're seeing the USF Pro 2000 cars out circulating around, similar to what we saw a couple of minutes ago. Nobody's really strung out quite yet, so just trying to find a little bit of space, get the tires up to temperature, and find that clear track for that fast lap late in the session.
Yeah, 100%. Back to Jace Denmark, just such a great young man. You can tell when you're talking, he's got an old soul, right? He's just such a cool kid. Moved from Scottsdale, Arizona by himself, just 19 years of age. Moves to Indianapolis, Indiana. Got to be in the heart of it, right? If you want to keep going. He's doing all his own work. We've talked a lot. He's essentially focused 100% on his racing right now, and it's finding sponsorship. He's in the gym. We know that. He's on the simulator. He does as much racing as he can. But about finding partners, about finding sponsorship, and signing a brand new sponsor here midway through the season with Doug Peterson of 3-Dimensional Services. Doug has helped a lot of drivers coming up through the ranks. Rafael Matos being one of the primary ones, and so 3-Dimensional Services on the side of the car for Jace Denmark, and again looking for that first win here in USF Pro 2000. You'd like to get that that monkey sitting on his back, get rid of that, get that first win, because it would start the momentum he needs. But he's had a really good run of races, as I said. You go back where he is. So you got to go back to the first race of IMS for a race outside the top 10 for Jace Denmark. The other 2 races at IMS, 3rd and 6th. 2nd on the oval in the Freedom 90 at IRP. 4th, 3rd at Road America. 2nd at Mid-Ohio. The momentum is all there. The consistency is there right now for Jace Denmark.
It's just that, what's the missing piece to take that final step, score that first checkered flag of the season in the USF Pro 2000. That would make a big step for him in his career, in this championship battle, and be the next step in his maturing and hopefully moving up further in open wheel racing.
Just 32 points behind your leader Lockie Hughes right now, so a big victory there is going to get him a lot closer. And his goal is Indy Next 2025. He actually tested last year with Cape Motorsports at the Fall Combine, the Chris Griffith Memorial Test on the Friday at IMS in October. So he's already had the taste of the equipment. He wants to get back to it in a big way, but indeed, let's see if this is the year here for the weekend rather here for Jace Denmark to come up big. Lockie Hughes is the guy they're chasing, though. He had a run through the middle of the year, IMS, Lucas Oil, and Road America on the podium every race from there. 3rd and 2nd and 3rd at IMS, the road course. 3rd on the podium at IRP on the oval. Won all 3 races at Road America, and then 4th and 7th at Mid-Ohio. So not the front up front, but the point lead he was able to develop. He had that cushion. Still 2 really good results at Mid-Ohio.
He's found the consistency now in those top finishes, top 5 finishes. He's up near the front. Drivers talk about wanting to put themselves in position to win. Now it's going to be in the final couple of events of the year. It's like, okay, now I have to close the deal. Now I got to score that first victory. Really start to put a little bit of pressure on Lockie Hughes if I'm going to be serious about fighting for this championship in the final few events.
He was the quickest driver this morning as well in practice, so that bodes well. That feels good. If he leads here with a 67-point lead, he is the champion. So he could lock it down here this weekend if he wins both races, and then the drivers around him have trouble. But again, that's not really a high percentage possibility here this weekend. There's the Kiwi Liam Skeets. Then there's the 17 of Nikita Johnson coming through turn number 5. Cooper Becklin. A couple of the BN cars there as well, and Escoto and DeTulio. There's Durst. And all these drivers, again, early in the run. We talked about this at USF 2000. Don't expect anything massive right now. They're all going to try to get banker laps in. They're going to try to get good laps. And you can never really take a breather here in a 20-minute session, because you never know when a red flag could come out. All it takes is a red flag, 5 or 6 minutes cleanup. You get right back at it. Just start warming the tires up. Another red flag. On a track like Toronto, that can happen, right? So you've got to get good laps. And like right now, something can happen. Lap 3 can be the best. Matt Clark, P1 right now, the local driver from Milton, on top right now for D-Force Racing. Lockie Hughes second. Jace Denmark, Simon Sykes, Nikita Johnson, your top 5. If we go red from here, your third lap's the best.
Even still, just 5.5 minutes into the session, how good does this feel for Mac Clark to be up on top of the timesheets right now? Here's another driver who, as you talked about, has expectations and had expectations coming into the USF Pro 2000 series this year, has not been able to score a victory yet, and has at times had some struggles, but feeling good, I think, right now.
It's been up and down for Mac for sure. He's had issues outside of his own control. He's been involved in a couple of wrecks, got cleared out at a wreck at the opening lap in turn 5 at Road America, which was a hard hit coming down into that corner. The start of the season was actually pretty good for Mac. 6th and 9th at St. Pete, and went at NOLA 5th, 4th, and 5th. He's like, I'm feeling good. And then he has trouble with a lot of mechanical issues at Road America. But yeah, listen, when you're P1 at the start of a session, and that's what you hear on your radio, you're like, oh, this is good. Cars feels good. Like whatever changes we made from practice, where I think he was 7th, we did it. We went in the right direction. It's feeling really good right now. And again, he's P3 right now. As Lockie Hughes has gone back to the top. But when you're hearing, hey, you're P1 right now, you're P1 right now, that's music to your ears.
That's the kind of confidence that a young driver is looking for, is yes, you're feeling good, this is what we want, now just it's in your hands, we've done everything that we can do. Now in these last 13 minutes of the session, it's up to you.
That's it. And again, the same goes here for the drivers in USF Pro 2000. We expect the fastest laps to come in the last 2 or 3 as the car gets as light as it possibly can get. These Continental tires, although maybe a little softer than the Coopers that we had for many, many years. Fantastic tire. Drivers have been raving about it all year long. And anytime you make a transition from brand to brand, a new supporter, a multi-year contract we have in the support with Continental Tire, they love these tires. Like, they could come in and say, well, they absolutely love them. The rain tires are phenomenal as well. We're not going to use those this weekend, but the bottom line is these things are so consistent that you're going to see the fast lap. This isn't a tire where there's a peak and you have to hit that peak on the magic lap, otherwise you're done. These tires just stay so consistent through the entire run.
And yes, it's a lot tougher to find that small window of 1 or 2 laps. But if you can run this full 20-minute session and continue to improve as the fuel load builds off and the tire temperatures and pressures equalize, then you'll find the sweet spot.
In USF 2000, we saw point leader Max Garcia take a bonus point in a pole position, $1,000 for him. It's $1,500 for a pole on USF Pro, and in 2 separate qualifying sessions, as we know, for this weekend here in Toronto. Lockie Hughes following suit, the point leader coming into the weekend, currently P1. He's got about a little over 2/10 of a second now on Simon Sykes, who's gone up to 2nd. Jace Denmark 3rd, Matt Clark 4th, Danny Jaschelski rounding out your Fast 5. Glenn Van Berlo, we'll jump into this story right now, P6. This is the guy that ran Spanish F4. He did the Euro Formula Open Series, but he, in more recent years, has been driving tip tops. He's been racing sports cars, whether it was a prototype car, Daytona, or Lamborghinis or Porsches. He's a sports car driver now. This is the car of Christian Brooks that Christian was running all season long. With his 4th now in the championship, he's elected to focus on his Indy Next program. He's been Christian top 10 in the last 3 races. An incredible debut in Next for Christian Brooks, the California. He's going to be full-time next year in the Indy Next series. But again, what we're seeing here is this kid, Glenn Van Berlo, which was a surprise to everybody hearing about it earlier today. The last-minute change, a last-minute driver addition. He was 6th this morning, which is Augie Paps has got to be just thrilled. Like, I can't believe that this kid's gone so quick, and he's showing good pace here as well, currently inside the top 10.
Never been in the car before. First weekend, you do it here in Toronto, surrounded by the concrete walls. That's a maturity and professionalism that you want when you're taking a chance on a driver. You know you've given him a good race car, as Christian Brooks has proved that.
Agreed.
So now you have to go and show what you can do.
Turn 3, 1, 2 right now. Danny Dashelski, the rookie, goes P1 in that number 3 machine. Great job there for Dashelski, driver out of Belmont, North Carolina. Running for Turn 3 Motorsports. Dashelski P1, Lucky Hughes in second, Simon Sykes third, Jace Denmark and Liam Skeets rounds out your fast 5. Matt Clark currently in 6th, Nikita Johnson, your guy in the championship battle, back in 7th. Glenn Van Berlo in 8th, Nicholas Montiero 9th, and Logan Adams rounding out the top 10. Logan got one lap. I think he might have got one lap, and they were struggling with something with the ignition on that machine. It was running inside, and running when they brought it out. On the pit lane, they couldn't get it fired. That's simple. I believe that something with the ignition switch is all it was. So, again, if he's able to go top 10, he'll be thrilled here. 0.8 of a second back, and Logan focused 100% on learning this year. That's the concept. He was actually on the podium here last year in Toronto in that race that went from wet to dry. Had a great run there, but moving up to Pro 2000 this year, a 4th at Mid-Ohio just a couple of weeks ago in race number 2. So he's got momentum right now. To get a full session, he'll be thrilled right now. Again, P10.
That's right, and that's what you want to see, as you mentioned, the 4th at Mid-Ohio. You want to see the progression through the year. Get to see, show the improvement. Use this as a learning year, that's fine, but we want to see you starting to improve as we go from one event to the next as we get through 2020.
And here's a little cool thing for you. So he is essentially a 4th generation of one of the iconic families in go-kart racing in North America, right? The Dismores. Mark Dismore, of course, a former professional driver, race winner in the IRL. Grandfather Emerson Dismore started Comet Kart Sales, which is one of the legendary kart shops, 60-plus years in the business. He's the 4th generation. He's been around for quite a while. He's grown up in Newcastle Motorsports Park, the track in Indiana, one of my favorite racetracks in the country. I'll be doing some racing there actually later on this year. Looking forward to that. But for him to come in and do what he's doing right now, I think is the beauty of it. He's focused, like I said, on 2025, but he puts a lot of pressure on himself as well, right? He's got to get focused. One of the coolest things, here's a little story for you. We have some time. So just, battling mid-season, what am I doing? What am I missing? Well, a lot of people come up through the sport. We know this. Well, one of the drivers who cut his teeth at Newcastle Motorsports Park, who was kind of coached by Mark Dismore, Logan's grandfather, is Joseph Newgarden. Joseph Newgarden stops by at Road America, has a little half-hour chat with Logan, who he knows really well. Mind shift change, to have somebody like a 2-time Indianapolis 500 winner, IndyCar champion Joseph Newgarden sits down with you, gets a chance to chat with you, and Logan, of course, just when you have assets like that you can bring in. And for him, it was fantastic, and he's changed since that time, I believe.
What an incredible resource to have, just to have the here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm feeling, but then to get the feedback from a driver who's accomplished so much in Joseph Newgarden, it validates what you're thinking, or it gives you a little bit of a different perspective, thinking, oh, wait a minute, I know you're seeing it this way, but why don't you try this and see how this goes?
Well, and you'll love this. Here, the perspective was this. One of the bits of the perspective Joseph said to him was, you get a chance to drive this race car, just go have fun. That literally, he was putting so much pressure on himself. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. My family's working on this thing. That's all the pressure you're putting on yourself. Joseph just said, you get a chance to drive this, just go have fun. And what a mind shift change for a kid to say, I'm going to go and have a fun time driving this badass race car.
Because it puts you in a more relaxed state. If you're on edge, if you're not focused properly, you're not going to perform at the highest level. But if you can exhale, take the breath. We talked about it during sessions that sometimes if you come in, take a breath, have a moment with the team, it allows you to reset and refocus and go back out and perform better. Similar kind of thing.
And you want it to be natural, right? You want to be out there just free, and that's what Logan's been able to do. Top 5, as I said, a 4th place finish at Mid-Ohio just a couple of weeks ago. Drivers continuing to circulate. There's the number 9 right there coming through. That is Nicholas Monteiro, the Brazilian for D-Force Racing. We saw the 17 as well of Nikita Johnson. There's Nikita there coming through. There's Monteiro. Still a little bit of room to be run to the outside. Ooh, Tank Durst is digging. He's 16th right now. Another driver getting quicker and quicker throughout the year. 77 Ricardo Escoto coming through there as well. Still Danny Dashelski on top, though, in that number 3 machine, the North Carolina driver. Dashelski's had a couple of really good runs. 6th place in points coming into the weekend, coming off a top 3 podium finish at Mid-Ohio. 2 podiums on the year, one in the very first race of the year at St. Petersburg. So that bodes well for this weekend, right? He was on the podium there at St. Pete, and then turns around and is good at Toronto. What a shocker that would be, right? He likes the street circuits, and right now P1, not by a ton, half a tenth, 500ths of a second, but he and his teammate are up front right now. We saw a all Pabst Racing front row for USF 2000 with a little over 5 minutes to go. Are we going to see an all turn 3 front row for USF Pro 2000? We'll see.
It's interesting that you can think back to St. Petersburg. Okay, I was there. What did I like? How did the car feel? What was I focused on? And Danny Dushelski, who's had some struggles earlier on in this season after St. Petersburg, is just you get back to a comfort zone. And again, talking about being relaxed, free, and comfortable. Maybe Dushelski's feeling just a little bit of that this weekend.
And listen, rookie drivers, we talk a lot about this, Don. I always look at Road America as being that kind of midway through the season for the drivers, where the rookies really aren't rookies anymore. They've run a street circuit, they've run the oval already, and they've also run natural terrain road courses like a Mid-Ohio, or some of those courses, right? So they've got a chance to do everything. So you look at the second half of the season for Danny Dushelski. First half of the season, a couple of 19th place, 3 19th place finishes, but he gets 4th on the oval. Then he goes 6-5-4 at Road America, and then he got trouble at Mid-Ohio, but then he got a 3rd. So you look at the second half of the season, and all the top 10s he's banging out. This kid is the guy who's really rolling on second half of the season right now. He's currently 6th in points. He's a ways back, but he's probably going to end up in the top 5 when it's all said and done as a rookie. So
that's the progression we talked about, is improving as the season goes along, but driving some different things too. Drove some radicals as well, and so just whatever seat time you can get.
USF 2000 and moving up to the pro category and a bunch of radical racing, as you had mentioned. Stopped the radical racing earlier this year to focus on running in the USF Pro car. There's the 33 coming in. That's Tyke Durst into pit lane. A couple of drivers making the run to pit lane here with only 3.5 to go, so I'm going to say they're going to call it quits here. That, I believe, one of the BN Racing drivers is in. Dushelski, Hughes, Sykes, Denmark, Glenn Van Berlo goes to 5th. The Pabst cars now 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The reason we're going to the pits, folks, is a red flag. Being told a red flag out here right now for the drivers in this category. Not quite sure what it is at this point. We'll have a look around the racetrack to see if we can find out why the red flag has come out. And I think time-wise, with 3 minutes to go, that's probably it. I think Danny Dushelski is going to be on the pole, and it's going to be a turn 3 lockout. Now, one thing for Hughes is he would love to have had that pole position bonus point, but for Danny Dushelski, it's a bonus point for him. It's also $1,500 cash, courtesy of Continental Tires, so that's big. But I'll tell you, that last lap for Glenn Van Berlo, he has been so impressive. The maturity and the focus up to P5. Liam Skeets in 6th. Matt Clark ends up 7th. Nikita Johnson all the way back in 8th. He's your primary championship contender, he and Jace Denmark. It'll be an outside row 2 start for Denmark and an outside row 4 start for Nikita Johnson. Behind him, Nicholas Monteiro and Ricardo Escoto currently capping off the top 10. Drivers all into pit lane right now, and I have to believe that's going to end it, unless it's a quick cleanup and they can get back out and get the drivers rolling. At this point, I'm not exactly sure what happened on track. We've seen a couple of the shots around, but not quite sure what it is at this point here.
And now the drivers will sit and wait and look for some instructions from their team. And just you can't quite celebrate yet if you're Danny Dushelski, because there's still 2 minutes remaining on the clock. And it's like, are we going to go, or am I going to have to go back out and defend this, or do I have to, or can I get out of the car and celebrate right now?
Well, and this is it at this level of competition. If you give these drivers 2 more laps, somebody's going to put a flyer in. 100% they'll go out and drop a flyer. So right now, as that time ticks away, every second that comes off the clock is going to tell it'll be down to just a 1 lap. I don't know that you'd be able to do just 1 lap. You might have to get 2 laps to get kind of back into the groove. Not quite sure who's involved in the incident here right now. Logan Adams could be the 21 of Logan Adams. Not quite sure. So it could be Logan Adams, potentially over in turn 6 or 7. We can't quite see it. So with that red, remember Logan Adams, I believe, was 11th spot, I think, at the point. If you look at the live timing at home, he's already dropped down to 16th position. So they've got rid of his fast lap, which was solid. But some kind of an issue between 7 and 8 potentially for Logan Adams. Checker flag has been shown. So Danny Dushelski can celebrate his first pole position in USF Pro 2000. Great job for Dushelski. Again, qualified in the front row for both races at St. Petersburg. So think about this. He's 2-2-1 on street circuits right now. He's been on the front row. He's a rookie. He's been on the front row in all 3 street races so far. We'll see if he does it again tomorrow morning and can continue that streak. But Danny Dashelski and Lockie Hughes, it's a Turn 3 Motorsports front row lockout. Simon Sykes in Denmark make it all Pabst Racing in row number 2. And I'll tell you, what a run for Glenn Van Berlo. Again, as Todd said, he's never driven this car before. They essentially get a seat fit for him throughout the day yesterday and today. He goes out and goes top 10 in the opening session, then P5. Excellent job. And listen, shout out to Glenn Van Berlo, very impressive. Super quick driver, very talented. But again, Pabst Racing 3, 4, 5. They've given him a hot rod to drive in place of Christian Brooks. Liam Skeets ends up 6th. He'll be on the outside of Berlo for race number 1. That'll take place 4:15 tomorrow afternoon. The local Canadian, Matt Clark, P7, inside row 4. He'll be able to challenge from there, no doubt about that. Nikita Johnson, 2nd place in points coming in outside of the 4th row with his primary challenger up front there in the front row. Doesn't bode well for Nikita, with just 4 races to go in the championship season. Nicholas Montier and Ricardo Scotto will go 9th and 10th. 11th was Alessandro Tullio. His last couple laps were his best. He goes to 11th. George Garcia Arce in 12th, Frankie Mossman 13th, Cooper Becklin 14th, Tyke Durst, Logan Adams, and Sean Rashid round out the 17 drivers qualifying for race number 1. Todd, we're back here tomorrow morning. We'll qualify for race number 2 for both USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. They'll be back on the racetrack once again. We're not done today, though. On the track, yes, but at 3:15 in the Heritage Court, we've got ourselves an autograph session. So come out and meet all the drivers. An awesome opportunity, Todd, to meet all those drivers.
It's terrific. They'll all be here with autograph cards, a chance to see the drivers coming up at 3:15, as you mentioned. Heritage Court here in the Entercare Centre at the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto. Just one of the opportunities to see them this weekend.
Yeah, and we'd love to have you to come back to our paddock if you're trackside here. Make sure you come into the Entercare Centre. We're in the far paddock right at the end of the IndyCar haulers. Come and get a chance to meet the drivers, have a look at our paddock, have a look up close and personal at the cars. We'd love to have you come and join us and get a chance to meet you. Otherwise, if you're at home watching, that'll be it for today. We're back again qualifying for race number 2 tomorrow. Back-to-back USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 sessions. 12:15, we'll have USF 2000 for race 1 of the doubleheader, and we'll wrap up the day at 4:15 USF Pro 2000 with Danny Dashelski, his first pole, 3 straight front row starts here on street circuits in 2024. A great job for the Turn 3 driver. And again, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. On behalf of Anderson Promotions and Continental Tire, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.